instead active when defending.
I think it's like
People deluded, I'm back again.
Come on, Ian. Man. Come on.
Thank you very much, Ian. Right, people, deluded. I'm back again. First things first. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and of course, good night, depending on where you guys are tuned in from. Hope everyone's doing well and safe. At the time of making this video, it's Monday morning in the United Kingdom. I hope this week is prosperous to you lot, people, in all aspects. First things first, in terms of good health for you and your loved ones. Without health, we're not alive, are we? And where your goals, hopes, dreams, ambitions, aspirations, all of that stuff, I hope it's all well and safe and decent for you lot. As usual, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and of course, good night. If you haven't subscribed or hit your notification buttons, make sure you're doing such. Hit the like button. Make sure you're commenting if you've got any opinions during when this premieres, and also in the comment section if you're watching this on a replay. Now, obviously, it's the World Cup and things like that, so there isn't much to talk about apart from the papers and the tabloids and the talking points and all of those things, you know. So we might as well go over them. I think there's a couple of there's an interview from Smith Rowe in relation to when he's back. Rhys Nelson's had an interview and he's been doing some charity work. You know, big up Saka, who paid for unfortunate kids to have some surgery in America. In Nigeria. Apologies. Rhys Nelson apparently has paid for some sort of, again, I need to read the article, but I think it's something in relation to a sports center at his home school. It's lovely to see people giving back, people, and it really, this is why it annoys me when people say footballers are out of touch with reality. They're just working class individuals nine times out of 10 who, because of their talent, sees them earn a lot of money. And out of all the sportsmen, for me, footballers are the first to give back. We saw it during C19 days as well. We see Callum Wilson at Newcastle always doing stuff with food banks and things like that. You know, Rashford needs no introduction, Tyrone Mings or Raheem Sterling as well. And there's plenty of other footballers. So without wasting any more time, let me share my screen with you guys and get into it. On the topic of Rhys Nelson, he's given an interview. I'd get cuts and bruises playing on concrete, so I brought my school a new pitch. That's bossy, because that's inspiring the next generation. That's inspiring greatness. That's inspiring the next footballers that might come from his area or his school. That might inspire someone that's got nothing to do with football. As I always say, football is a refuge for a lot of people. Like, obviously, life is life is crazy, innit? And Rhys Nelson's from London. I'm from London, you know. I've seen literally people play for the same team and join gangs and want to take off each other's heads. And some football can save you. Football, the relationships you build, the team working skills. There's so much you can learn from playing football. What a simple game, but it can change the world. I'm a big fan of such people. So it's nice to see. He might even inspire someone that's, you know, could have went a left way, that football's a safe hub for them, but they go on to be the next prime minister of this country, or the first, you know, ethnic prime minister of sorts of this country. I might be thinking way too ahead, but that's what Rhys Nelson has said, people. Specifically said, I remember playing on the concrete floor and coming home with bruises and cuts on my leg from playing all the time. In schools, there were no rules. You had 100 kids running after one football. It was in the playground. So you had all these obstacles in your way, benches, teachers, walking around with tea, everything. Sometimes you miss those days and you just want to go back. Remember when you had school at 9 a.m., but you get in at 8:30 just to chase the football around with your friends? I hear that, Rhys Nelson. He went on to talk about Mikel Arteta coaching him when he was 13. He kept putting on all these sessions and I would just get the ball and dribble past everyone, recalls Nelson. He would just laugh and put his arm around me, making me feel comfortable. It's the same thing now. That's one of the things we all love about Mikel. His man management skills, in my view, he's just a genius in how he takes the sessions, how he takes the games, how he communicates with people and delivers on a match day, says the 22-year-old. He then went on to say, I've matured. As the first time I went abroad, I was only 18. I didn't have my family there in Germany so much, so I struggled a bit. But this time I had my family there quite a bit. London is a very fast life. It's just alive all the time. And it's just the small things like being able to see your friends all the time that you miss. That was one of the main things I missed when I was abroad. Fair, I hear that. He still lives in North London and he still has the flat he grew up in, South, people, and he goes there for his barber. He said the atmosphere around the training ground is just so alive. Everyone just wants the best for each other, which is fantastic for us Arsenal fans. Everyone is really caring. That's another thing. A lot of changing rooms, they just want results, but they don't care about individuals and how people feel. I feel like at this club, everybody genuinely cares for each other and wants the best for each other. And then he went on to again praise Arteta. He does a lot of things off the pitch in terms of team bonding. It's so important to have a manager that understands there is life off the pitch. There are times where we'll literally be in a room, we'll all just be sitting in a circle, and everyone is speaking with Mikel in the middle, just giving wisdom and encouraging people to feel good about themselves. Having that in a team where you can all be open to speak among each other, good or bad, is just amazing. I feel like everybody is rowing the boat the same way, and there's no one trying to do an interview if they get upset or if they're not in the team, like some clubs and some players. If you're on the bench, we're literally cheering and so happy for the guy in our position. Obviously, everybody wants to play. It's a competitive environment, you know, but the collective comes first, which is getting Arsenal Football Club back to where it deserves to be and keep doing what we've done in this first half of the season, you know. And right now, nobody who's out of the starting 11 can really complain. If the results were shaky, performances were shaky, fair enough. But you know, and it's down to these bench players to keep the starting players, you know, Saliba, Benjamin White. You've got players ready to take your positions. Martinelli, when Smith Rowe is back, potentially if a couple of other centre mids are in there. We need depth, we need competition, we need flexibility, and these things are now slowly but surely moving in the right direction at Arsenal Football Club, collectively from those above Arteta, obviously Mikel Arteta and his coaching staff and the many people involved in the moving parts involved, and obviously the fans as well, and every fragment of this club, if I've missed anything else out. I feel like Arsenal is the club for me at this moment in time. I've been here for so long and I'm very comfortable here. You've taken your chances in the minutes you've got recently, so keep going. Of course, I want to play games. I want to play week in, week out. But I feel at this moment in time, I'm happy where I am. Only going to get better. I feel like Mikel is the coach that I need right now in terms of my career, in terms of me taking the next step, sign the contract. My head is not focusing on whether I need to get a team in January or talking to other clubs or doing this and that. It's literally how I can perform at the highest of heights when I get the opportunity. I'm an Arsenal fan, and of course, I want to sign a new contract at the club. I'm just going to be ready for anything I get now. Give my all for the team. Very mature words from our young man. Smith Rowe, who I miss, you know, the one bad thing of this season is he's played no major part, but hopefully he can be just like a new signing. He may have went to the World Cup if he wasn't injured, but I guess we'll never know. He has said, hopefully by the first game after the World Cup, I'll be back playing. I'm actually out here in Abu Dhabi doing rehab. Today was my day off. I'm back training tomorrow. So he's doing his thing before, obviously, we all fly out to Dubai / Abu Dhabi, do our preseason stuff, play our preseason, mid-season, better yet, games. And as players get eliminated from the World Cup, they'll make the short journey over there. And then, obviously, you all know this, we got to get back to business. We can't count our chickens before they hatch from an Arsenal perspective. We've done a lot of good things, but we've achieved nothing, you know, until 38 games are played, until every game in the Europa and the FA Cup is played, we've achieved nothing. We're in a good direction. We need to keep going, and we've got a big fixtures coming since, you know, when the season resumes. We've got West Ham, we've got United, we've got Spurs, we've got enough tough games. I think we got United and Spurs back to back, so we're gonna need to be on task. So that's nice to know he's back training and them thing there and running, apparently, says some media people. And we've got some warm-up games. We play Lyon, we play AC Milan. Apparently, we're planning to play Juventus before Christmas. And there is rumours of even Barcelona. Big up Miles as well, travelling with the first team. Really good player. Him and Ethan, I do believe they've got Arsenal first team potential. Let them and they develop, though. Smith Rowe went on to say, it depends on a lot of factors, how the team are performing, the injuries that we have, what happens in the World Cup. There are a lot of question marks that we don't have the answers to. We are planning to have the right resources to continue the way we are right now. But again, as you said, a World Cup like this has never happened. We have to all experience it and try our best to get the right outcome. Shout out Emil Smith Rowe. In relation to transfer news, Edu could move early to sign 20 million complete player for Arsenal very soon. Edu Gaspar will spend the majority of the World Cup assessing the Gunners' options in the January transfer window. You'd imagine the bulk of who we're bringing in both in the summer and January. There's a lot of moving parts and variables, but that's already done. Obviously, there's acceleration because we're moving that much closer to the market opening and hopefully getting some midfielders, whether that would be Telemans, whether that would be Danilo, whether that would be a winger, but Mudryk, who's probably the one that if you type in Arsenal transfer news, he probably fills up at least the first 10 Google pages in some degree, people. The move for Douglas Luiz didn't bang, as we know. Apparently, we've seen everything from 20 to 25 million euros for Danilo. We heard Palmeiras, following the conclusion of their season, are more open into selling him in January versus the previous summer. and he's had a bit of an underwhelming part of his season left, people. Apparently, Ed Jones has said it's definitely is an option. He's in the position they've been looking for some time too, in case they do have any more problems in the defensive mid area in the second half of the season. Edu had him on his radar for the past year, so it won't surprise me at all if they do go and try to get one done, in which obviously he'd be decent, really. So yeah, we're quite lighting midfield. So that's Danilo. We've been linked with the new Pedri, people. FM legend Alberto Moleiro plays for Las Palmas. You know, from what I've seen of him, you know, not just in Football Manager, but in real life, very typical Spanish player. Lovely balance, drops the shoulder, can play in tight spaces, lovely passing range, always wants the ball. You know, I don't think immediately we'd expect immediate results. And for the obvious comparisons, playing for Las Palmas and being Spanish, you need to be careful with labeling guys. But you know, Arteta's Spanish, he's Spanish, he fits the development sort of region. You obviously want some players that are a bit more experienced and ready right now for Arsenal, but you know, I'm all for it, people. You know, he can have a great career long term as an 8 or in the central midfield. He can play a number of midfield roles, and he's even got low socks as well. So you know he's a baller. Don't know if this is true, but Arsenal have joined the race to sign Las Palmas youngster Alberto Moleiro. Apparently, this reporter said the Gunners are going up against the likes of Barcelona and Manchester City for the teenager. He's yet another exciting talent, and Barcelona have got Pedri, they've got Tor as well, and it wouldn't surprise me if they get this man, who, as stated here, has recently broke into Spain's under-21 side, people, and he did play with Pedri prior to Pedri making the move. I don't know why they call him next Pedri as well, because rightly so, they are quite different. I think he's a lot more reserved than Pedri. But apparently Barcelona won him. We face competition from Barcelona, Real Madrid, Manchester City, and Liverpool, people. So I'm all for it, man, really. But I don't think this is going to happen. And he can play in a number of other roles. But I think his career is as a 10 or as an 8 long term. I'm all for it, man. You know, we've got Arteta there, who's obviously Spanish. I'm sure we could ask a former Spanish midfielder, Cesc Fabregas, on what he knows about him. So get that done if it can be done. Apparently, Manchester City will not sell Arsenal players anymore, really. Idols become rivals. You know, City a bit unfair. Way before you had Kevin and Haaland and that. Who funded your rebuild? Well, you've not funded it, but who gave you the players? The Nasris, the Clichés, the Colo Torres, you know, and many others, the Adebayors. Probably a couple of other players that are missing out there as well, you know. Return the favor, you know. Gundogan, Mahrez, Kevin De Bruyne is not that good, City. You might as well give him to us. And you know, Haaland's all right. Can he do it with certain? You know, it's easy to do it when you got Kevin in your team. Can he do it at Arsenal? City, you need to keep supplying us players. You know, I don't care where we get the players from, whether they're in the Premier League, playing for City, playing for Nottingham Forest, playing in the 3rd division in whatever country. As long as they improve this team, why not in it? And there's a variety of different players that have been assembled within this squad currently, people. But you have seen the impact that Jesus and Zinchenko specifically have made for a bunch of reasons, not least working with Pep Guardiola. And I'd say, obviously, 2 very good tacticians, give Arteta technical players, give Arteta a lot of options and versatility in terms of tactics, you know, of the right age profile. But it's this upstairs. Football's a mental game, and you see it, you know. Zinchenko and Jesus are almost like captains in their own way. No disrespect to Martin Odegaard, who is doing his thing. You've got Xhaka there, and everybody should be a leader in their own way, however it comes naturally. But allegedly, Man City will not sell any more first-team players to Arsenal. Sources have told Football Insider, people. Maybe they see us as rivals now. I mean, I don't know why the footballing world is trying to force us and City as rivals. Arsenal fans, we'd love to win the league title or challenge for it, but you know, we're just enjoying life, man. You know, if you offered us in August where we'd be right now in December, wow, it needs to correlate till May. We would have bitten your arm off, and we would have looked at you like you're either a fortune teller and you've gone to the future, or you've got a drug problem, really. But football's a crazy game, and we've done well. We need to keep going. But you know, that also is a positive, because it means City are kind of scared, really. Don't know what they're scared of, but yeah, man. It is what it is. But questions are being asked at City about how they allowed 2 first-teamers to join a rival who are now their biggest competition to win the title. Because in August, and anything can change, you didn't expect that. You know, you didn't expect that from us. So that's probably why that's there. And you know, Zinchenko and Jesus didn't have long to run on their contracts, and we gave you the asking price you wanted. Really, thank you very much for such. Really. Now, if you would be kind enough to let us beat you for once, because you let Spurs get some decent points off you last season, which helped them get top 4, is what it is. It is now believed, and it's no different from, you know, maybe you shouldn't sell to rivals anyways, because if Chelsea weren't having the woeful season, we might be looking at Raheem Sterling a bit differently. It is now believed Pep Guardiola's side will reject any potential offers from Arsenal for players who would go straight into their team, people. Again, we don't know if this is true, but it is what it is. And I even forgot Saga and that as well. That's the one name I was forgetting. Look at what we did for you lot. And it is right. We go again on Boxing Day against West Ham, people. So we'll deal with that when we need to. Allegedly, Arsenal under pressure to spend big in January amid 120 million claim. I don't think Arsenal internally are under any pressure apart from the normal pressures they put on themselves and the talking points the tabloids make, really. So especially in terms of results and whether managers or sporting directors at some point in time could have been gone. So I don't think one thing Arsenal won't do is panic buy. That's something Arteta's got away from. What I have confidence in is that we'll spend money if we can, but Arsenal are under pressure too and can afford to spend big in January. So that can afford to spend big fills me with confidence, but we need to spend correctly, guys that are going to add to the team in the short, medium, and long term, people. And I think this article is just leveraging the fact that I'll leave you lot to go, big up Swiss Ramble to go and look at them finances, but I don't think we're under pressure to spend purely because we're awaiting financial issues. But we know that money on offer in the Europa League is nowhere near the Champions League. That's true. There's anything between 30 and 50 million difference in those competitions, depending on how far they get. I think you get more for getting out the group stages than actually winning the comp. That's one factor. There are other factors as well. Over the last 2 years, we've had the club posting big losses off the back of the pandemic. That's just not them. They've restructured their cash reserve to help with that in 2020. They had cash reserves of 120 million, but that was down to 80 million in 2021. Their net spend has been high over the past couple of seasons, so they've invested in the squad. I think all these things considered, you still put Arsenal in a relatively healthy financial state, which is good. It's not that they can't get additions to the squad. If they need to, it's more who do you get and at what price are you prepared to pay? The pressure for Arsenal is they go into the World Cup break top of the table and they might not have expected to be in that position at Christmas. That might put pressure on to say, right, okay, if we can sustain the title challenge, that would be phenomenal, but sustain the top 4 challenge is now a realistic possibility. I agree. That's the Champions League and extra money that goes with it. So you spend a bit more to get paid a bit more in terms of qualification. That makes sense. The pressure to go again in January becomes higher for Arsenal, given how well they've performed in the first half of the season. Fair enough. In relation to Saka, Arsenal tell sponsors 52 million Saka deal is all but done. Allegedly, Arsenal have told sponsors they're very confident of agreeing a new contract with Bukayo Saka, people. It's believed contract talks are progressing well behind the scenes. Right now, they're probably taking a pause because we are still in the season. Right now, Saka has to leave that to his agents. He's clearly made it clear he wants to stay. Nothing is done till it's done, but it's time to focus on the World Cup, really. It doesn't help Saka focusing on any noise away from enjoying where he actually is rumored to start against Iran at the time of making this vid today, people. Just focus on the World Cup, and the same goes for Martinelli and Saliba in the parts all of these players will play, if any, for their countries. But it's believed talks are progressing well behind the scenes between both parties, and Arsenal have let it be known to commercial partners they expect a full agreement to be secured soon. Timing of the World Cup could delay the completion of formalities, but it's expected Saka will put pen to paper on a contract worth nearly 200k a week. And obviously, rightly so, that puts him near the top earners, and that will be a 52 million total deal in package. And I mean, since he signed the new deal, he's got better and better. So yeah, we need to retain players as well as bringing in players. And that's nice to see that Edu's confirmed his future. Arteta signed a new deal not too long ago. Hopefully, Saka, Martinelli, Saliba, and anyone else commits their futures before too long, people. So yeah, he firmly is the poster boy for Arsenal. More power to the lad. Arsenal to watch very talented 18-year-old striker at the World Cup. I think everybody is. I know nothing about him, but Arsenal plan to watch Jesus Ferreira during the World Cup, with the 21-year-old expected to lead the line for America and Qatar. Is he 18? Oh, 18 goals, sorry. Apologies, I'm not reading correctly. It's early. 18 goals. And I mean, 21 emerging talent. We've signed Austin Tusty and Matt Turner from American-based clubs, and we've been linked with Fernando Torres. So if we are scouting and running the rule over him like several clubs, fair enough. But apparently we plan to watch him, and I plan to watch him today. Again, we'll be watching America, Wales. Also, the day this comes out, this video will be posted on my YouTube, people. England, Iran, America, Wales, and Senegal, Holland. They're all been done in it. So we'll have to see what's been going on here. USA face Wales on Monday, and 21-year-old Ferreira will probably have the 9 role. He is an instinctive striker that loves to press and will thrive off the chances set up by Christian Pulisic, Aronson of Leeds, who's quite good, and Gio Reyna. I mean, fair enough. That's a pressing striker. You need to be able to do that in Arteta's system. Arsenal scouted him while Bundesliga clubs have an eye on him too. So we'll have to see what this is saying, really. Apparently, we've been linked with Marcus Thuram again, people, as has Liverpool. Again, I'm very pessimistic on if we're going to get the 20-odd-year-old people, but his contract is running down. It could be a cut price option. We've already spoken about Ferreira. Arsenal interested in William Carvalho. I don't even believe that, people, but for what it's worth, we've been linked with him probably since he was 8 years of age. This was one that was always thrown in the papers, bit like Envia. Jan Envia of Rennes once upon a time. Apparently, Arsenal are interested in signing Carvalho from Betis and face competition from Newcastle. I don't believe that, and I'm sure a lot of you don't. We've heard too much about Mudryk at this point. If he's not holding the shirt, I don't really want to know. Arsenal really appreciate Mudryk and could swoop in January after holding discussions with the Shakhtar Donetsk's sensations reps over a potential switch to the Emirates Stadium, according to Fabrizio Romano. Specifically, what has he said? They will sign players if they are the right players for Arsenal's project in January. We know they're following Mudryk. He's a player they really appreciate, and he's a winger they really like. They had contacts with his agent for a long time because last summer they wanted Mudryk, but they never negotiated with Shakhtar as they knew they wanted more than 40 to 45 million euros. Now they want way more than that. And apparently he's leading the way for goals and assists among his teammates, people, and he's found the back of the net every 173 minutes in the Champions League group stages, and he currently has 16 goal contributions, goals and assists at this moment in time. So if we scouted him, if he can bring something to the table, why not? People. Again, this journalist was speaking. Apparently, he asked the question to the Shakhtar Donetsk hierarchy, and they replied, "Now it will be time to get back in contact with the club, the agent, and Mudryk to see if anyone will start a negotiation. He's a great professional. He'll leave these voices to his agent. We'll see if anything happens." Then someone added this journalist and said, "What club is he talking about?" He didn't want to say the name of the club. If you want, I can say it's Arsenal, who have already made an important offer for Mudryk, allegedly, people. And also, Football.London have correlated that. Now it will be time to get back in contact with the club, the agent, and Mudryk to see if anyone will start a negotiation. He's a great professional. He will leave these voices to his agent. We'll see if anything happens or not, people. So our club hasn't specifically been name dropped, but the race for Mudryk heats up, people. And again, we've been linked with Marcus Thuram, as has Liverpool, Spurs, and a bunch of other clubs, Aston Villa and such, people, as his contract is running down. The Thuram situation isn't totally clear, but it's reasonable to believe he's considering his next move. Arsenal have been linked with him too, so there might yet be a bit of a scrap for him if he fancies actually moving to England. So that doesn't mean anything. Everybody's linked with everyone, people. Arsenal to throw everything at signing Mudryk. Arsenal will throw everything at signing Mudryk in January. Mudryk is Arsenal's main priority when the January transfer window reopens, according to Romano. I think the main priority is Mudryk. The player they want is Mudryk. It's about the price because Shakhtar have been really strong in negotiations for more than a year. They want big money for Mudryk. It's not easy. So you have it there, really and truly, people. Apparently, not everybody's happy. Edu has appeared to commit his future to the club, people, and further show the long-termism at Arsenal across all aspects. Apparently, Gab Makotti thinks it's weird and silly. How? If the man's part of the rebuild and that, and he's wanted by other clubs, allegedly. Arsenal have appointed a sporting director, and it's Edu. It's weird for me because he's already there. This was the job he was doing, right? What's the difference? Is it a different job title? But it's silly. I hope they gave him more money and more power since they've changed his title. And you'd imagine his role isn't going to change too much, but you'd imagine there's increased responsibility. Or what was the point bringing out that article saying he's our sporting director, our first ever, and gone just from being a technical director? From what I read of the article, it seems like more so than ever, Edu will kind of collaborate a bit more on the youth sort of bridge players, the Hayland, the first year, second year scholars, under 21s like London Coley, with Saka and to Arteta. I wondered about this. What is his title before? Now he's sporting director as opposed to the technical director role. Whatever works for you, it shows you can sign Willian and David Luiz, but still come back. This guy's throwing mad shade at Edu, and it's just down to him to prove you wrong. I know he signed them, but look at the other players he's been assisted in bringing in. So it is what it is in that regard. Romano says Arsenal have just stopped potential major exit in relation to Edu. As I said, he's been monitored allegedly by clubs abroad, people. So who knows what has been said here? Let's view the tweet. Edu now officially nominated as Arsenal's first ever sports director, promotion with more responsibilities as his work has been excellent. As the Kroenkes have shown, they will give new managers or young development stage managers and staff time to grow, and that's what's being done here. Understand, Arsenal wanted to make Edu's position stronger, as 3 European clubs had his name on the list as new director people. So it'd be interesting to see what he does. And also, finally, Saka is to be handed World Cup debut ahead of Foden in the Group B opener. Why not start both? Fair enough, Southgate. You can never have them all, really, but it is what it is in that regards, people. So with that being said, that's all I've got to say in relation to the latest news. As I said, big up you lot. Again, don't forget it's World Cup watch-alongs for the next month, people. I'll be watching England, Iran, Senegal, Holland, and obviously America, Wales with you lot. And tomorrow, which would be Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, we'll be doing the same thing, people. So make sure you're turning on your notifications, you're hitting the subscribe button, you're checking out the playlist, people, on my channel, you're checking out the description to follow me in all the socials. Most importantly, stay blessed, stay safe, comment if you haven't. One love, people. I'll see you lot soon.
There's always that active and defending.
I think it's like